Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. Mesut Ozil Arsenal, it hasn't been a match made in heaven, but is there time under Unai Emery? Can he get the best out of Ozil? Have we seen the best of Ozil? Is this his final chance to prove that he can make it work in the Premier League? Don't worry, here with the interviews, we've got you covered. So on this edition of the interviews, we're going to break down how Mesut Ozil may fit in Unai Emery's Arsenal side. New season, new Arsenal, new manager. What can go wrong? Obviously, Unai Emery has a lot of questions to answer, a lot of solutions to provide. One starts with Mesut Ozil. Not coming off the best World Cup campaign, probably one of the worst World Cup campaigns in terms of a joint team performance, but Ozil's looking to rectify his Arsenal career. Hasn't been the guy that Gunners fans hope they signed back in a few years ago, but now they're looking to get it right with this new manager. How can Emery get the best out of Ozil? We didn't know if we get to see that in preseason. 2 games into Ozil's preseason campaign, if we want to call it that, we're getting to see what Ozil could be. The game prior to that against Atletico Madrid, we saw Arsenal playing more of a 4-3-3, and what that did have was Lacazette up front. We had Aubameyang and Reece Nelson kind of cutting in. That's what we expect from Unai Emery. That's what we saw at PSG. With Ozil, it offers something different. Where is he going to play? False 9, out wide cutting in midfield as a traditional number 10. Where can you get the best out of Ozil? That's been the question since he arrived. Now for Emery, it's about getting him into the team shape. It may not be all about Ozil, but when you look about it, Arsenal have invested so much in him. A new 3.5-year contract for until 2021, 350k million pounds per week, and the fact that he's given the number 10 jersey. Now, when we look at it, Arsenal have played PSG, they played Chelsea. Doesn't really give us a good understanding of how good Arsenal can be, but it gives us somewhat of a glimmer as to what role Ozil will play. Against PSG, when we break it down, he did play in more of a conventional number 10 role, more of a 4-2-3-1. It had Aubameyang up front, it had Iwobi cutting in from the left, it had Mkhitaryan on the right, but Ozil's position was frankly extremely high. At times, he was as level as Aubameyang. Now, what you see happening is that when they didn't have the ball, they dropped out into 2 banks of 4. Iwobi was responsible for the defensive work, as was Mkhitaryan. Ozil sat a bit higher with Aubameyang, and what we saw from Mesut Ozil was his creativity in this role. It wasn't the first time we've seen him play the number 10 role. We'll get to that in a second. But what do we see from him? One, he did score, and what does help is the fact that Aubameyang likes to break in, so that does create space for Ozil to break into the box and find little gaps around the 18-yard box, and that's what helped him score the opener. But we saw him drop into these pockets of spaces throughout. As PSG were looking to push forward, just popping into these spaces, receiving the ball between the lines. And what often happens here is that we saw it on 2 occasions where he just snuck into positions here at half, picked up the ball, and looked to locate Alex Iwobi in behind the defense. Iwobi probably should have capitalized on his chances, but he didn't. There was one opportunity where he moved to the right of the midfield 3, and what he did, he slid in Aubameyang into that space there. Mesut Ozil needs runners. If he could get runners, he could play those final passes. When you look at this Arsenal side and what it could be, you have Aubameyang who likes to run in. Lacazette could run in. Iwobi likes to run in. We can see Aaron Ramsey bombing forward from midfield. There are a lot of options for Ozil if they get it right here. And in that number 10 role, he did look very good against PSG. Yes, it was against a younger side, so you don't want to take that with stock. But if we even go to Chelsea, let's look at Chelsea. Chelsea also playing in more of that 4-5-1 without the ball, pressing high. Mesut Ozil started that game on the right of a 4-3-3. And what we really got there was Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan, and then we had Ozil coming out from the right-hand side. We didn't see much of Mesut Ozil in the opening 20 minutes. There was Bellerin bombing forward, and the only time we really saw Ozil was when he popped into that space right here in the half space from a deeper position to get onto the ball, and that was the only time we really saw him. He dropped deeper to the right, tried to move to the left and swing balls out there, but Ozil was anonymous, and what also didn't help was the fact that with Bellerin bombing forward, Hudson-Odoi was breaking free, Alonso was pushing forward, there was no protection. In that situation, even if Alonso wasn't breaking forward, Emery would want his his wider player to drop off and offer protection to stop Hudson-Odoi from breaking forward. He didn't get that from Ozil. Around the 25-minute mark, we saw Ozil swap flanks with Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan did provide much of a better cover. We had Ozil coming from the left. And in a 4-minute span, we really saw how great Mesut Ozil could be, how he could dominate a game. What helped also was the fact that with Chelsea playing in that 4-3-3, Pedro often plays a narrow role. We didn't get Azpilicueta bombing forward, so that wasn't much of a threat. So Ozil was free in that regard. We saw combinations with Kolasinac. He was breaking into these, making those darting runs into that left-hand space, combining with Kolasinac, combining with El Neni. We saw him looking to get runners in behind opening stages. Ozil from deep finds Aubameyang making that run probably for the first time in the game for Aubameyang. What happens is that David Luiz steps across just in time to clear danger, and it falls to Rowe, who fires his shot over the net. We look at another opportunity that does stem. It's Ozil tucking into the space between Pedro and Fabregas, receiving the ball from Kolasinac with a great turn, spinning them both. Mkhitaryan cuts in and he finds Mkhitaryan between the lines. From deeper, Aubameyang would drop into that space between the lines. You have to say that Fabregas and Barkley, not that great from a defensive aspect. So many gaps that Ozil was able to find in transition, breaking forward down the left, playing balls into Aubameyang, finding Mkhitaryan in wider areas. Ozil was very good in that 4-minute span. You got to see what you get out of him from the left if he can combine with teammates, if he does have runners breaking in free. And he was just simply making those darts, dropping off a bit deeper, getting on the ball, looking for runs into that space, and looking for Aubameyang to either break in behind into the channels or drop off deep so he could find that pass. In the second half, Ozil didn't really start it well. What happened was once Emery made a bunch of changes, we saw Lacazette come on, then we saw Ozil move back into that number 10 role, and they became, again, more of a 4-2-3-1, 4-4-1-1, and then we saw Ozil come to light towards the end of the game. It starts with a poor Jorginho pass in midfield, which sets Lacazette free, 2v2 or 2v1, sets Lacazette free, should score, doesn't score, is denied. We look at another opportunity. The other great thing about Ozil that we've seen before we get to the opportunity is the fact that he's dropping off deeper to get on the ball, evading challenges, looking much stronger with his back to goal in deeper positions, holding on to the ball, recycling possession, and then moving back into space to get back on the ball. It led to one opportunity where Chambers did break forward. What we saw was a pass between Emerson, who came on as a substitute, reverse ball into Chambers, cross into the box after dropping deep to evade those challenges. It falls to Nelson. He's denied from point blank range. And then we look at the build up to the winner. And it's again Ozil from a deeper position, playing that reverse ball between the center back and the left back, finds the marker there, spilled across the box, and it leads to the Lacazette equalizer. When you look at Mesut Ozil and you break it down, didn't look too good in the wider areas. Perhaps Emery is trying to look to make a front three of Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Ozil, with Ozil cutting in, then having Ramsey bomb forward to add another runner into midfield with Tyrrell and perhaps Xhaka in midfield. It's uncertain, but Ozil has looked good in his 2 games back at Arsenal. It's promising for the fans, and we'll only get to know as we go forward. This is just a brief summary of Arsenal's preseason, and Ozil looking very good, which is good news for Arsenal fans. But we want to hear from you guys. Where do you think Mesut Ozil's best position is? Where do you think he should play under Emery? Where do you think Emery will play him? Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget, I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.